Knowing Tekking, he's probably already made like 3 or 4 videos on Chew. So,
I have not made any, but I should. That'll be the video for tomorrow.
yeah, the deep and dark philosophy of Chew.
Okay, so it's the video you've all been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Chew! Chew, chew, and more chew. Oh, there's gonna be so much chewing action packed into this video. You're not gonna know how to sleep tonight, alright? Listen, when I might not be good for much, but there's something I am good for, and that's taking a topic in an anime and figuring out some way, some combination of words that I can string together to get a 20-minute video out of it, okay? And I am a man of my word. When I dedicate myself to make a video, I'm making that video. Except for the Black Clover series, which just kind of stopped. And the One Piece movie discussions that also kind of stopped. And the Ask Bleach discussions that also kind of stopped after the first episode. And a bunch of Let's Plays that I've yet to finish. And, Making Toast Season 2. Remember when I was gonna do that barbecue sauce discussion series? Yeah, so okay. But, hey, the people really wanted Chew. I've been getting a lot of comments ever since that last Virgin podcast. Hey man, where's the Chew video? Well, guess what, buddy? Here it is right here. Alright, Chew, one of the officers of Arlong's Arlong Pirates, the fearsome Fishman that raided Kokoyashi Village, that ruined Nami's life. I mean, kind of. He indirectly ruined Nami's life. I mean, even in the sense of being, like, a bad guy from Nami's perspective, I'm sure she does view him like that, but it's kind of like whenever Nami thinks back on, like, the horrible, way that Arlong treated her, and, like, he's the one that, killed Bellamere, so she sees Arlong there, first and foremost, in her head. And behind Arlong, way in the back of her memory, there's Chew. So she could be like, oh, Arlong, he was so horrible. He enslaved our entire family and our entire village. Yeah, I guess Chew was also there, maybe way in the background. So Arlong has 3 main officers, Hachi, Karubi, and Chew. Fun fact, I actually thought Hachi was, like, his second in command because, normally how you do this is that Luffy fights against the main villain of the arc, which was Arlong, and Zoro fights against number 2, Sanji fights against number 3. So I was under the impression that Arlong, number 1, obviously, Hachi was number 2 because Zoro fought against him, and then Karubi was number 3. Actually turns out that Oda originally intended not Chew. Did you think I was gonna say Chew? That's funny. No. Oda originally intended Karubi to be his number 2, and the bounties reflect that. Arlong's bounty was 20 million, it was the highest. Karubi's was 9 million, Hachi's was 8 million, and Chew bringing up the Rear Admiral with 5.5 million. He's almost as threatening as Higama! Actually, not even close. Higama had an 8 million berry bounty. Chew only had 5.5. But he is more threatening than Alvida, though. He's even more threatening than Porchimi. And remember him? The guy from the backstory with Ace and the Gray Terminal and Sabo and everything? He was working for the Blue Jam Pirates. Yeah. So he has a higher bounty than Porchimi. And Mr. 4, Babe, who you just want to call Babe Ruth because he, uses baseball bats as a weapon in baseballs. So, he has a higher bounty than him. And also Chopper and Beppo. And I think those are the only canon characters that have, like, a canon bounty that Chew has, like, a higher one. So it goes Chopper, Beppo, which are, like, the lowest as sort of like a joke. And then, like, Babe and Porchimi. And then Alvida. And then, so, like, Chew is, like, the 6th lowest in the entire... He's, like, the top 10 lowest bounties. Chew is definitely there. But, yeah. So, I'm guessing Karubi was still intended to be the second in command. It's just that Oda never really had a moment during the arc to, like, express that. But through the bounties, it seems to do reflect that. It's just weird in that one instance because Zoro actually took out, number 3, and then Sanji was the one that took out Karubi number 2. Now, of course, we all know bounties don't immediately reflect battle strength and all that stuff. And I guess overall, considering that Hachi's a swordsman and all that stuff, I would say maybe he is is stronger than Karubi, who's more of a martial arts kind of like Fishman karate fighter, but the bounty was indeed higher in that regard there. But that's talking about Karubi and Hachi. Who the hell cares about talking about Hachi? There's nothing interesting involving that character. Arlong, Arlong Schmarlong. We're here to talk about this magnificent man. Here's some fun facts about Chu. Are you ready? Fun fact number 1, he's 35 years old. Fun fact number 2, he was born on May 23rd. So any of you May babies out there that have the honor of joining in Chu's birthday, May 23rd, there you go. Make sure to have a smelt whiting fish cake as your actual cake. Fun fact number 3, he's a smelt whiting fishman. Ah, man. Okay, you know what? Since we're already going full balls out knucks with this, let's amp it up to the next level. All right. Fun fact number 4 about Chu. Did you know Chu was the original captain of the Sun Pirates, but he just felt so bad because, you know, he was so badass that he relinquished his position to Fisher Tiger because, you know, Chu, he's really humble. So he knows that, like, I think Fisher Tiger came to me and he's like, man, Chu, I need you to be the captain. You're the only person that's gonna guide the fishmen and the merfolk into the light. You know, you're the only one that can make this happen. Fisher Tiger was on his knees, begging in front of Chu. And Chu is like, Chu, I think you should be the captain, Fisher Tiger. I know I would be awesome, but I don't want... I can't even come up with a smart freaking way to make this logical. Okay, fun fact number 5. You know that one time Jinbei fought against Ace and the fight lasted like 10 days and they were both exhausted and they collapsed like it was a draw? Well, did you know Chu fought against Jinbei for 6 months straight? Yeah. And you might think, well, it's like, whoa, okay, well, how did that end? It's like, well, it actually ended with Jinbei having 40% of his internal organs being completely crushed and devastated by Chu's mighty water cannon. So when we see Jinbei right now in the story, he's only, you know, he's missing like 40% or whatever number I said. He's missing that much power. Not only that, but Chu has sort of like the power like in Dark Souls, so he like absorbed part of Jinbei's soul, which was also the reason that was the real reason Big Mom couldn't steal Jinbei's soul, because Chu already has it in his possession, right? And so that made him even stronger. Do you buy that? Do you believe that? All right, cool. So, a bunch of other stuff happened in Chu's life, and then we get to the Arlong Park arc, okay? So, there is a lesson to be learned from Chu. No, there is. There seriously is. If you want the lesson, here's the lesson, all right? Arlong, you know, he had his crew that followed him. And, you know, they might have had maybe their different beliefs and stuff, but Arlong was a very, very intense kind of captain. All right, so eventually, kind of like whether they liked it or not, you really can't speak up against Arlong, okay? When they were on the Sun Pirate crew, Fisher Tiger definitely did not have the mentality of like, we need to slaughter all the humans, like Arlong kind of took it to that level. Fisher Tiger didn't have that. And I imagine maybe while they were on the crew, all the fishmen sort of rallied together under Fisher Tiger, and they started to kind of, even if they were kind of on the cusp, like even Jinbei was not 100% sold on Fisher Tiger's logic on how to treat the humans and how to handle all this, considering all the slavery and anything. But you could tell Fisher Tiger was at least making an impact on his crew. But then after Fisher Tiger died and the crew went their separate ways, Arlong took his crew and he went to the east. Eventually, like, his mentality, whether, you know, they wanted it or not, you know, it was eventually going to rub off on his crew, you know, because you can't stand up to Arlong because he's Arlong, okay? So eventually, you know, even Hachi, who was not that bad of a guy, eventually started adopting that mentality because that's Arlong, he's the boss, we need to listen to him, and he says we need to, you know, take over the island and slaughter all the humans, and, you know, not really, well, he did, but also just enslaving them because they enslaved us, you know, that was more of Arlong's kind of creed there. Hachi went along with it, so did Karubi, and so did Chu. Now, I'm sure out of all of the officers Arlong had, Hachi was the one that was like, you know, well, I don't really agree with this, but if I try to leave, Arlong would just kill me. So I guess I'm here doing this, Meanwhile, Karubi and Chu were probably not as kind-hearted as Hachi deep down. But the lesson here to be learned, I guess, is to think for yourself. It's like Hachi, maybe like one day he would have snapped and you'd just be like, Arlong, I'm not listening to you anymore. And he tries to leave, and, Arlong would probably try to, make some takoyaki out of him, but at least his last act was like, I'm gonna stand up for myself, Arlong, I don't want to enslave humans, I don't think that's what Brother Tiger would have wanted. And so, he goes out, but he goes out kind of on that. Meanwhile, you got Chu and Karubi that are just like, we'll listen to Arlong and whatever he says because he's our boss and that's what we do, So I guess that's the lesson to be learned here. Okay, so Chu's fight against Usopp. Chu he does have relevance in this story. It's like, some people are sitting there listening to that, and they're just like, are you sure, Tekking? Are you sure that statement was accurate? Like, no, I am. I'm not actually bullshitting you on that one. Chu does have relevance into the story, okay? Chu is the first opponent Usopp fights that he has to do 100% on his own. He's not like a weak underling. He isn't. He's an officer. And Fishman, just by default, are 10 times stronger than your average human, okay? And Usopp really is the average human at this point. Like, Luffy's got a devil fruit. He's super strong. He's been training for 10 years with his fruit. Zoro's a swordsman. He's like a samurai. And Nami, well, she's an lady, and she's not shy. But, Sanji, of course, he's cooking for the Pirate King, but he's also got the legs. Sanji's got dem legs, right? Usopp, meanwhile, he can run really fast. Chu applauded him for that. He's like, man, how can a human run this fast? But beyond that, Usopp does not have superhuman strength. Usopp does not have devil fruits. Usopp does not have hockey at this point. Usopp is just, for the most part, a normal human being in the context of, like, our world, okay? He's really clever. He's good at thinking on his feet. He's got his, like, pachinko shots and his slingshot and all that stuff. But in terms of, like, his physical stats, aside from being really good at, like, the 100-meter dash, beyond that, he doesn't really have much to work with, okay? So, imagine, like, regular human being, like you or me, going up against somebody that has the strength of 10 men, plus has the ability to shoot water jets out of his mouth that are basically equivalent to being shot with a pistol. Because that's the firepower that Chu has, okay? He takes his lips, he's like, shoo! And then he fires off water bullets, and he has a stronger attack called Water Cannon, where he sucks up a bunch of water, and he was basically able to just, like, rip a bunch of trees, just clear off of the landscape with that attack, okay? So you gotta go up with that, armed with nothing more than a freaking slingshot. Now, Usopp, granted, he's got like lead stars, gunpowder stars, flame stars. He's got some tricks in his magic messenger bag, but imagine going up against that with just a slingshot. You're a normal human being. Here's this big buff dude. It's like 10 times the strong of humans, and he can also basically have unlimited bullets whenever he wants. So that would be scary as hell, right? Now, in the context of the greater One Piece expanded universe, that's nothing, like, a pretty strong guy with the ability to fire bullets. I mean, there's literally a guy that can turn into a dragon now and obliterate an entire mountain whenever he wants to. Okay, so not really much in that regard, but think early One Piece and think in real world scenarios. That would be scary as hell. Alright? There was one time I was in a convenience store in my town and some drunk guy came in, starting raising hell, armed with nothing more than a freaking 2x4, just a stick of wood. And I'm not dealing with that, right? He's like a big guy walking, he's drunk, he's like, what is that kid doing in my yard? Not me. It was not the... Now, there's a whole story of this on the vlog channel, but just to give you a brief overview, there was a kid in my town, he was riding a dirt bike through this guy's yard, he was like wasted at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the kid comes in the convenience store the same time I'm in the convenience store, I'm talking to the cashier, because it's a small town, so everyone knows each other, and this guy, he walks across the street, he's all drunk, he walks into the convenience store with a piece of wood, he's holding it so tightly his hands bleeding, and he's like, I don't want that kid in my yard, I'm gonna smack him. And what I did, I hid behind the ATM the entire time, because I'm not dealing with the drunk guy armed with a 2x4, alright? So, yeah, Usopp's gotta contend with something a little bit more dangerous than that, alright? So he pretends to get defeated. Chu shoots him once. Usopp lands on the ground. He covers himself with ketchup. He's on the ground, and he's like, I'm just gonna play dead now. And then Chu's like, oh, one shot was all it took. And he turned around and walked away. And Usopp's on the ground, and he starts like, I'm gonna rub myself with dirt to make it look like I actually put up a fight. And he starts remembering all the things that, you know, Luffy and Zoro and Sanji and all the people he's met over in like just the last couple of weeks in his life. And he's on a pirate crew now. Usopp, this is his like defining moment in East Blue. This is when he realizes, I'm no longer pretending to be a pirate. We're not on this ship sailing around just having fun for the sake of like, we're gonna pretend to be pirates. No, we are actual pirates. We're gonna deal with actual threats. And I am expected, as a member of the Straw Hat Pirates, to stand up for myself and deal with this for the sake of my fellow friends and my, you know, my crewmates. I'm not just gonna sit around and let them deal with all of the freaking fights for me. This is the moment. Chu is my opponent. I let him away. I can't let him go back and let Sanji or Zoro or Luffy deal with him. They have enough stuff to deal with right now. It is my job. They trusted me with this. Come hell or high water. And Usopp realizes, like, even if it results in my death, I need to fight him right now. Either I fight him and I win, or I fight him and I die. But at least in that situation, I stood up for myself and I did the best I could. Sitting on the ground covered in ketchup and dirt is not doing the best I could do. So he stands back up and he's like, hey, you freaky fish guy! Bring it on, you piece! And then Chu's like, what? Boom! And just decks Usopp right in the ground. And at this point, I start to wonder, you know, the reason that Oda drew Usopp's nose the way it is, I mean, I know because he's Pinocchio and he lies, but I wonder if, like, a secondary reason why Oda drew Usopp's nose the way he did was so he could draw it getting broken as much as he, like, it really is pronounced when his nose gets busted up, right? So Chu decks him, he hits the ground, but Usopp's like, I could still move, and so he takes a hammer and just smacks Chu right in the freaking shin. Which I'll tell you something right now, 10 times stronger than the average human or not. You ever get hit in the damn shin? It happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I was trying to get into my attic, and I was climbing out of my attic, and I banged my knee off the side of a wall here, and it hurt. Like, it hurts. It's smarts, okay? So Usopp takes his, Usopp a hammer! Boom! And just smacks Chu right in the shin, and he's like, oh, He's like, why do I have to fight this idiot? And then he also resorts to the only fear that Fishman truly have, rubber bands. And Usopp's like, rubber band attack! And Chu's like, oh, no! And, you know, he, like, comes back to his senses and, like, why did I flinch at that? So Usopp runs into the woods, takes some, depending on the translation, it's either rum, wine, sake, oil, or fizzy soda juice. One or the other. So anyway, Usopp, I guess which one is the 4Kids translation. But anyway, yeah. So Usopp takes some alcohol, tosses it over, it shatters on Chu. Chu does the giant water cannon, he sucks up a bunch of water, and he's like, alright, you're going down now. And he blasts part of the forest away. Usopp takes this advantage, takes a flame star, and I actually honestly love the way he says this to Chu in the manga. He's just like, hey, Chu, did you know alcohol is flammable? And, like, you have the moment with Chu where, like, the gears start to turn. He's like, wait, what? Alcohol is... Huh? What the hell are you talking about? Oh my god, no, I'm on fire! You know, so he lights him on fire. There's like a rice paddy field right next to them, so he jumps in the water and extinguishes the fire, but he's still kind of defeated. But Usopp, you gotta give it to Usopp. He does the double tap, alright? Because, you know, especially in this situation, I don't blame him at all. Like, hitting someone when his back is turned or when he's already unconscious, that's fine. Because it's like, Usopp is like, holy crap, did I win? And he's on the ground writhing a little bit. He's like, no, no, hammer, 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 hammer. Maybe like a hammer, just one more. So he smacks Chu a bunch of times while he's on the ground, and he wins. Now, is it the most elegant victory? No. But it is a victory. And Usopp is like, I did it! I defeated a Fishman! I did it! And he kind of like passes out and he's like, We did it! Trusty Hammer, you and me, man. Conquer the world, you know? And then that's the last we see of Chu. Kind of like, I mentioned this in the Arlong video, but the end of that arc is actually really ambiguous what happens to everybody. Later on, we find out that Arlong and Karubi and Hachi, they all got taken away by the Marines, but at the end of the arc, really, Luffy defeats Arlong, and we get nothing else after that. Like, Luffy pounds Arlong into the bottom of Arlong Park, and then we just don't see him anymore. We don't see him getting led away by the Marines. We don't see, because, like, Nezumi was the Marine that was corrupted, so another Marine had to show up and capture them. We don't see how this goes down. They just kind of, like, the fighting just kind of stops and everyone's celebrating. I'm like, okay, where did Arlong go? Where did Chu and Karubi? And where was everybody? Everyone's just like, oh, no, yeah, another set of Marines came and took them away off screen. It's fine. So, okay, whatever. So, yeah, we would assume that wherever Arlong is at right now is probably also where Chu and Karubi were at, because they also had bounties. Something else to keep in mind, though, is that Nezumi was the one that was kind of in league with Arlong, so his bounties, all of the bounties of the crew, might have been a lot lower than they should have been, alright? Like, Arlong had a 20 million berry bounty, which was definitely, for the East Blue, really high, but his real bounty probably should have been a little higher than that if it was like a regular Marine that was actually deciding, not Nezumi. Same thing with Karubi and Chu. I'm not talking of, like, a big boost, but maybe, like, Arlong could have been, like, closer to 30 million, and then, you know, Karubi could have been like 15, 16, Chu might have been 10. Their bounties were being, you know, a little bit lower just for the sake of like, oh, they're not that big of a deal, but they were kind of a big deal, right? So yeah, that was about 20 minutes that I talked about Chu. That was definitely more than I got off of this than I hope I ever would have. So yeah, let me know below what you guys think. What is your favorite thing about Chu? Let me know below. Is it his impeccable fashion sense? Is it his hairstyle? Is it his necklace? Is it his mighty lips? If there's a character in One Piece, and I'll end it with this, if there's a character in One Piece that knows how to suck, it's Chu. Also, check out the One Piece Virgin podcast every Tuesday. Link in the description below. I'll be on sometimes. But also, Animax there, Briggs, and Nux. It's a fun time. They have a slew of guests coming down, and we're starting the One Piece. We're basically getting out of East Blue and moving on to the Grand Line soon, so that'll be really fun. Check that out below.